The month of March isn't just about planning spring break. It's Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month, and everyone deserves a fabulous vacay. That's why we're diving deep into the magic of accessible travel from someone who knows it firsthand. From wheelchairs to wanderlust, this travel agent extraordinaire is telling you how to make every vacation awesome, inclusive, and unforgettable.
This is the duty station, download across the nation. This is the duty station, download it, download it. This is the duty station, download it.
Welcome back to Duty Station Download, where we help you fall in love with your next duty station. I'm active duty military spouse Felicia Vallier, and today I'm here to clue you in on a fun and insightful conversation Kimber recently had. Trust me, this is a gem you don't want to miss.
I started as a travel agent because I wanted to help recreate an experience that we had coming home from a deployment. We had one of those super magical Disney reveal surprise homecomings. So that was just so much fun. I wanted to be able to create moments like that for the military families.
Right.
But then the more I saw the disparity between what's out there and then what families with disabilities struggle with, the more I realized we really have a huge need for better understanding of how to travel with disabilities. So I kind of dove into that, started my own agency so I could explore it more. And then about 2 years ago, I built a program called the Spectrum of Accessibility that trains other travel professionals on how to accommodate families with disabilities so they are better able to accommodate their guests.
Yeah, we need to do that. We need to do better because if our families with disabilities feel more comfortable to travel and get out there, then they will.
You are more connected to disabilities than you think right at first. Right. Mm-hmm. Every person has at least one family member who has one kind of disability, needs some sort of accommodation, whether we're talking about mobility, hearing, visual, intellectual, cognitive, neurodiversities, dietary accessibility, and other invisible disabilities. There are so many different kinds of disabilities out there. Disability awareness affects us all. And 26% of the population has some form of disability. So when I say that, I say that with absolute confidence. Everybody is affected by disabilities or will be at some point in their life.
My grandfather had polio. My mother is disabled. My father-in-law is combat wounded disabled. So we have a good bit of experience. Both of my sisters are disabled. So I don't think about my family as carrying disabilities because I think about who they are and what they bring to my relationships. I don't necessarily consider what's going on physically for them. And we just planned a trip to Disney and we took my father-in-law with us. And I really had that firsthand experience with understanding, and I was pregnant as well. So I was like, we really have to monitor what we're doing, how much we're moving, where we're going to, so that we can get the most out of this trip and have the longest duration.
They will have to deal with that.
Using the word disability often. Is that the best choice for me to use when I'm referring to individuals who do have disabilities?
Yeah, disability is a really, really safe word to use. It's funny, people can get really, really picky about word choice here.
I've noticed.
And some words, some people are okay with some words, some are not. When I'm identifying a person with a disability, I say a person with a disability. We really try to use people first language is the first thing. So the person has a disability. I have a child with a disability, not a disabled child. But honestly, the most important thing is check with the person you're speaking to. I have some friends who identify as, they say, I'm an autistic individual, and others say, I'm an individual with autism. So it can vary person to person, but in general, using the word disability or I am disabled, that tends to be pretty safe. Words you don't want to use. You don't want to say differently abled, or the worst one, in my opinion, handicapped. That is one that causes a lot of offense. And when you think about the origin of the word, it does tend to make sense. It is probably the most common one that is used out there, but we really are trying to switch it to, instead of a handicap spot, it's an accessible spot. And if you think
Right.
about the word pictures in your mind on this, handicap comes from holding a person on the street, holding their cap in hand, begging for money because they had no other option than to do that.
Oh, I
The word-
didn't know that. Yeah, but
Yeah.
clearly it makes sense. Yeah, I didn't know that.
So when you think about it in that context, it really sheds light on why we
Yeah.
don't want to use that term. Whereas if you think of accessible, if you think of making a building accessible or a parking space accessible, instead we're creating access. I see pictures of a door opening rather than doors closing and being shut off. I see that opening up and being welcomed in and included.
Right.
So just thinking of words like that is really important. The other thing that's a really super common one that I didn't know when I first became a wheelchair user, I introduced myself in a group on Facebook as being wheelchair bound. I had no idea the storm this was going to cause.
Oh no.
And I'm a wheelchair user, and
Right.
they came after me. It was brutal. It's the only time I've ever been attacked like that ever on social media or anywhere else. But
Yeah.
I did come to understand why that matters to so many. So if you think wheelchair bound, it kind of means that the person is a slave to their chair. But it's not the case. I'm not a slave to my chair. That chair does my bidding, not the other way around. So I am a wheelchair user, not wheelchair bound. I use
Your
the
tool.
wheelchair.
It's your tool. It
Exactly.
it places the empowerment back on you.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
Instead of decreasing your worth and your power. I hear that.
This is the duty station. Download it.